the Writers Guild writer strike is over, and now we're gonna sort of. This could all go sideways.
Tentatively,
This could go
tentatively.
down in flames. This almost became the longest strike for the Writers Guild. The last one that they did, which was in 1988, and I think it was for 153 days. This did not go quite as long, but almost. I mean, 5 months that the writers were on strike. They wanted a better agreement to protect them so that they were getting better working environment and conditions, but also residuals. And what they actually got, I'm pretty excited about. We're
Yeah.
gonna talk about it, but this is not the actors though. So
Right.
we have the Writers Guild, and then we have SAG-AFTRA, both of which have been on strike. So what's going on? Writers Guild, are we all done, or are there any final steps to get this agreement in place?
So they've told the writers it's okay to go back to work, I believe, as of Wednesday of this week. They are still continuing to have different meetings and discussions to handle out the details, but they have a basic outline of everything. And then I believe that the Writers Guild of America East and West, they have to have a final vote. And then that's when they decide on, if they're going to accept it. But everything looks like it's a go. I don't think at this point it's going to backtrack. They're just kind of they've released some of the details, which I'm sure you're going to get into, of what it overlooks. But they're just kind of getting the things. But the other thing that they're talking a lot about in it for the writers are about AI, which is a huge concern and something that we talk a lot about on this channel. So from just kind of skimming just some of the things that you're going to go into, I mean, it looks like it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. I mean, I don't know how far they had to come down from the negotiations, but I mean, it's a step.
Now, when it comes to negotiating deals, especially settlement deals, it's both sides are always unhappy. Someone's had to make a concession far beyond what they ever wanted, but the AI stuff stood out to me for sure. So let's go through it. AI can't write or rewrite literary materials, and AI generated material will not be considered source material under the MBA. So the MBA is the agreement that the guild has to abide by, and those who are hiring guild members, right? Or members who are a part of this guild.
Yeah.
So basically, it's meaning that the AI generated material can't be used to undermine a writer's credit. So
Right.
this apparently was a big deal. And they're like, don't go and use ChatGPT and then be like, this wasn't written by me, or I'm now a co-writer. So I thought that was
Well,
interesting.
I mean, I would imagine, like, if they're gonna do like another like Nightmare on Elm Street movie, they can't have AI write all the characters and everything. That everything was based on a Freddy Krueger and writing the new Freddy Krueger, AI doing it.
Now, conversely, there was a question in regards to what if writers are using AI to assist them, right? Because AI,
Right.
ChatGPT is really helpful. Now,
Right.
that is allowed. And this is what they say. They go, a writer can choose to use AI when performing writing services if the company consents and provided that the writer follows applicable company policies, but the company can't require the writer to use AI software.
So that means that it's up to the writer's discretion whether or not they want to kind of use AI, as long as they run it by the company. Cool, 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 cool. But could the movie studios hire a writer that does decide to go ahead and use just AI and stuff, but it's kind of like with a little wink and a nod, like, oh no, we got a guy that'll do it. We got a guy.
It sounds like the biggest thing is just like disclosure. It's allowable, but it can't be used to, again, undermine the credit obligations for the actual human author. But guys, remember, we talk about this. When you go to register the copyright for, let's say, a script or a screenplay, you have to disclose if some of it was written by AI. That's really important because
Yeah.
because if you don't, and then you go and you try to enforce your copyright and it comes out that some of it was written by AI, you can get your registration canceled. And that can really mess you up when it
Yeah.
comes to statutory damages and attorney's fees. So it kind of sounds like, all right, so, if certain materials in any way include AI stuff, the company needs to know about it, right? The
Right.
studio, the writer also needs to know about it.
They
And
don't
then what is
care.
it? The WGA reserves? What was
It all
that?
they don't care. It all just seems like it's like, these this is all great because it protects the writers that are trying to do it. But with everything that we read, I just see like a loophole. I'm like, yeah, they know, they don't care. Like it's all on the up and up, and they don't care.
What I was gonna say is I go, the WGA reserves the right to assert that exploitation of writers' material to train AI is prohibited by the NBA or other law, which, again, this is part of what we talk about.
Yes, a lot.
So without getting too far off track. So that's some of the AI stuff. Okay. So that's not the main issues. We had, obviously issues of they want to make sure that they are receiving certain working conditions, but also wage. They
Yeah,
wanted wage increases. And so, we are seeing some at 5%, 4%, 3.5%. So that's pretty good. Also, they want minimums when it comes to rules for TV writer rooms. But
yeah.
the
For
thing that got me the
like
most,
staffers, like a minimum amount of staffers that that are on a show or something, or that are in writing things. They just want to make sure that they're actually hiring writers. I think that's the main thing. I think that a lot of it does have to do with the underlining of AI, just to make sure everyone's kind of keeping an eye on everything and humans are being employed.
well, sure, sure. But the thing that also got me excited is because with residuals, right? So meaning if a TV show
Oh,
does really
right.
well and is making a lot of money, the writers have an opportunity to get a nice little bonus.
Bonuses.
So this is what they're saying. The new residual structure would be based on viewership, and this is all new. The projects viewed by 20% or more of the service's domestic subscribers. So if you're on like an Amazon Prime or
Right.
a Prime, let's
Right.
say. Um,
Or Max.
right. So within the first 90 days or subsequent exhibition years, you'll receive a bonus. Projects on major streaming
Yeah.
services will get bonuses ranging from about $9,000 to 40 grand.
Nice.
And this would be for like a streaming that was
Feature.
feature over, 30 million in the budget. And this will be all starting in January of 2024.
That's great. That's great. And that just seems like a win. It seems like they really were getting a lot of their concerns addressed, and it's a start. Now I believe that this deal is only what, for like 3 years. Like they
Yeah.
only got I mean, they're only doing it for 3 years, and then we'll see what kind
Right.
of happens after that. They'll see how
Right.
it works. Which is the movie companies are going to figure out how they can squeeze money out from somewhere else. Who else they can exploit to make up the difference, because these guys got to eat.
Well, the other good piece of this is that there has to be data transparency. So for these
Yeah,
companies also, they have to give transparent data reporting on what's being earned. And so, this is all good stuff. You know
I
what I'm
love
saying?
it.
We want to make sure that our writers are protected, but especially with AI integration, and that's very complicated. And there's concerns not just from the studios, but also the writers who now are having their jobs impacted because you got Chatty coming on in and taking over their work.
I think one of the biggest subtle wins for everything is just all the transparency that's going to be happening, that I don't think was available to writers, and they couldn't get these numbers and stuff. So the fact that they're going to have a lot of access to this, that they're going to have say on whether AI is being used, just right at the top. I think just seeing all their concerns were at least being met for the most part. I'm sure they didn't get everything, but I think that's the key in a good negotiation. What is it? Everybody feels a little bit of the pain. It's not, nobody really comes out the winner. But it would be really interesting to see, what SAG after does in response to this. If this is going to lay kind of a framework of what can be done, I think we'll come to see what happens with them as this closed, because I think you were talking before, reminded me that they joined in solidarity, kind of with the writers and stuff.
Yeah,
And now
initially, yeah, that was my initial, thought with this. I go, okay, so we got Drew Barrymore, which we covered, and she got into so much trouble because she was like, look, we don't use writers on our show, so we're gonna get our show back in action. And
right.
everyone just threw such a hissy fit about this that
And
she
Bill
ended up,
Maher.
what was that?
They both went
Yeah.
through the same thing.
Yeah, so anyway, so she ended up putting out like an apology video, but she's like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna continue with the show. And then she ended up pulling the video down, and then she's like, I'm not gonna do the show. And I guess probably that was a good thing, because then she fell back in people's
right.
good graces, and then now the strike's over, so she can do her show. But
And Bill
anyway,
Maher and Bill Maher did the same thing. He made the whole thing. I got other guys to write. He was going to change the whole format of his show. Drew Barrymore did her thing, got her big backlash. She was like, "Oh, coming back," and then Bill Maher followed in suit and was like, "Okay, no, we're not going to have the show come back." But then, as soon as it was announced, the Writers Guild, Bill Maher was just like, "Oh no, no, we coming out Friday, Friday, we ready to go. Let's get
That's
that show
right.
going."
Well, no, so then my thought was I go, well, is there going to be any backlash for those writers who are now going to go back to work? Because the
Yeah.
actors went on strike in solidarity with the writers and now they're like, "Oh, so you're going to go back to work?" I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering if anyone's going to say something because the actors are not, back in action. Now look, caveat to all of this, we have this vote. It should be done by the 9th of October.
October,
We
yeah.
hope that this agreement's going to be approved. And so then it becomes a real thing. Not actors, writers are okay to be working now while, the vote's
Oh yeah, they're good to
ongoing
go.
and things like that. So, it should be fine. I'm just wondering.
I think we're going to see the Actors Guild or the actors kind of following suit here soon. I think they're going to
True.
look at this framework and just seeing what it can be done. It's encouraging because it's a step in the right direction. So I just kind of hope that this just kind of inspires it because, you know, the you know, I'm not one of these guys that's like, Hollywood elite, Hollywood elite. I like my TV shows, the ones I like to watch, and I like them to get back in production, please.